1 week in late February 2017, Ireland is facing one of the biggest housing crises since the foundation of the state. Too few homes to rent, mortgage arrears, repossessions, long social housing lists, and homelessness like we've never had before.
Because as soon as someone sees you're homeless, they just look down at you as if to say, oh, they're a piece of dirt.
This is not something that's going to be allowed to happen where our house is going to be taken easily.
Homes are being built, just not enough.
We should be seeing something like 200 cranes building apartments, and we're not seeing that.
It's clear this is a crisis, and solutions are needed.
Over the next 25 years, there'll be at least an extra 1 million people in Ireland.
The priority is to try and help people to stay in their homes.
Policymakers have responded with a raft of new schemes.
HAP is available immediately to every household on the waiting list.
But will these solutions work?
The asking price is $345,000.
I'm living in a hotel.
You're leaving and you don't even know where you're going.
And there is no place like your own home.
For 1 week in 2017, cameras across Ireland offer a snapshot in time of the people who live the property crisis every day.
We just want to live in a home that we own and give our children some stability.
I know home is where your heart is, but we make this our home and we're getting kicked out of here.
Monday, 27th of February. Financial advisor David Hall begins his journey to work. This week, David will negotiate with a series of banks and funds on behalf of his clients, most of whom are hopelessly in mortgage arrears and facing repossession.
This has been a very unique, catastrophic crash. You know, we had an opportunity when we own banks, you know, to hold on to properties in the knowledge that we were in a chaotic housing situation where people didn't have homes. And we chose, as a state, and the government chose, to sell those loans to vulture funds. And it is mind-boggling. You know, it is like selling beds in a hospital. It doesn't make any sense. So this is a very, very difficult, very, very dangerous time. And, you know, you can't help but think some of this stuff we brought upon ourselves. Some we brought upon ourselves.
We'll be back with Brian O'Connell talking about repossessions in Cork after this break.
I need coffee. This hour of the morning, I need coffee.
In Ballyfermot, single mother of two Selena Hogan is at risk of homelessness. Served with a notice to quit, she has until Easter Monday to find a new home.
Been in this house now 3.5 years, so I mean, like, it's just devastating to think that we're gonna live. You know, it's not easy for any family to have a knock on the door by their landlord and be told they're selling the property.
It's not fair on the children as well as the adults. Like, they're thinking it's just going to affect the adults. It's not, it's affecting kids. Because as soon as someone sees you're homeless, like, they just look down at you as if to say, oh, they're a piece of dirt.
Bye. Upstairs.
It's your school time.
Upstairs, come on, go get ready for school, good man. He hasn't really got a clue. He kind of knows that we have to move, but he doesn't actually know too much. Scott suffers with ADHD and Asperger's. So it's very hard to explain to a special needs child who actually hasn't got the communication skills. We have to live.
Where's your bag?
Cheers. Oh, too cool for kisses off your mouth here. Go on, bye. See you later. Every day you open the curtains, it's there. Every night when you're closing the curtains, it's there. It's just constantly reminding you all the time. You're going. You're actually going. And you don't even know where you're going. Sorry.
I had a sticky sale a couple of years ago when things were very, very hard to sell. And I said, I've tried absolutely everything. The only thing I haven't tried is St. Joseph. So I went up to Newtown Park Avenue and bought St. Joseph. And by the time I come back to the office, I had I had an offer on the property, so we sold the property, and St. Joseph has remained by my side since.
In County Meath, the Trim County Registrar holds repossession hearings now up to 3 times a month. Michael Laffey is a MABS court mentor working on behalf of people in danger of losing their home.
A very busy day for us, one of the longest days we've actually had in Trim Court for some time. 75 mortgage cases and ended up with 8 possession orders being granted. Our experience has been, when we started doing this, if you want to describe it maybe as the low-hanging fruit, so cases where no payments were being made for several years, and in some cases the house might be vacant or abandoned, and that's the cases where orders were being granted. But in today's 8 cases, there was at least 6 of them where quite substantial monthly payments are being made by the borrower. One example would be a payment of $1,800 a month being made for the last 12 months, and the borrower wasn't in court, and she had directed at the last hearing that the borrower was to be written to and told about the hearing today, and the bank proved that they had done that and certificate of postage, and payments are still continuing, so she had no option really but to grant the order, you know. One of the reasons, I suppose, that we're experiencing the high level of cases is people bought in Meath for accessibility to Dublin, dormitory towns, then change in circumstances, be it reduced income, be it loss of job, found themselves struggling then with being able to meet the mortgage payments on a property that had devalued quite significantly.
Hey Milo, will we get your PJs?
In Donnycarney, it's an important week for Ciara and Maurice Sadler. The couple rent a 3-bedroom house, but really want to buy their own home. This week they will learn if they get mortgage approval. The Sadlers already own a property. In 2006 they bought a 1-bedroom apartment in Dublin that they've now outgrown.
Okay, I don't know what time. I'll be back maybe 8:30 or 9. See you later. We rent the house in Donnycarney for $1,650, and then on top of that we have to pay a mortgage for a property we don't really want to have. We bought the apartment 10 years ago. Within a year of buying it, the market had collapsed and it was worth nothing, and we can't live in it now, and it's really stressful for us. We just want to live in a home that we own and pay our mortgage and give our children some stability, and we're stuck with this negative equity.
The couple have applied to sell the apartment and roll the remaining debt into a new mortgage for a new family home. While they await news of that application, they have other problems. They currently rent out their apartment through Airbnb short-term let. They calculate this gives them a much-needed €500 more per month than a standard rent. Tonight, Ciara will learn if the apartment complex management will continue to allow Airbnb.
It would have a massive impact on us. I'm not sitting around rolling in wads of money that I'm getting from Airbnb. All the money I get from Airbnb goes into my mortgage, my management fees, property tax, maintenance of the apartment.
Across town, there is another meeting taking place.
My little boy is coming home every day. Mommy, did we get somewhere? No. Still no. You know? I'm just saying to me sisters, me friends, everywhere. And they told me to self-accommodate. 4 weeks I'm ringing every single hotel, you name it. I've been offered one by them. That was on Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. I was offered Portmarnock. Sure, I hadn't even got bus fare to get out there. How could I get out in buggies, bags, me babies? And then they told me that I was being picky. But it was only going to be for one night. It wasn't even for 2 nights or 3 nights. It was just for one night. I've nowhere to go, genuinely. And no one cares. Nobody cares.
What brings you to Dublin?
At 286, he's going to rule himself out.
There's your keys, first of all. So everything kind of you need is here.
Back in the city centre, Kira Sadler's meeting with the apartment complex management to decide if Airbnb's short-term let will still be permitted is over.
In effect, I think it's going to be a ban. I think that when I go and say I want to register, that they won't condone that. The argument from the people who were against it were saying, you're an investor and that's my home. And I understand that, but I don't feel like I'm an investor. I'm just trying to meet my mortgage costs and pay the management fees. And yeah, I just feel a bit lost, really. I don't know where we're going to go.
It's Wednesday morning. Estate agent Ross McHugh is preparing to list a property for rental. He recently sold this one-bedroom apartment in Clondalkin for €169,000.
There was strong competition towards the end from a young couple, first-time buyers, just looking to get on the ladder. They just had to bow out due to financial commitments. They couldn't place an increased offer, I suppose, on it, and it went to the investor in the end. But we could certainly do with more investors buying up properties like these to, as I say, just feed them back into the rental market. This particular landlord wouldn't be classed as what you might call a greedy landlord. It's not all about money, money, money. So he's happy to get the right tenant over a big, crazy high rent. So somewhere in the region of 11.50 to 12 is what he'd be happy with per month. The competition is fierce for rental properties in Clondalkin, and I have no doubt that there will be strong interest in this. You don't have the luxury anymore of spending a whole day viewing a handful of properties and taking your pick. You did have at one stage, but not now. But this would be classed as very good value. So this particular property is now live 1 minute. And I've received an email inquiry. That's an immediate response. You couldn't have asked for any more of an immediate response than an inquiry to come in within 60 seconds of going live. So hopefully many more now.
This is starting, say, 180,000. So he's saying 182, 182. If you want to go higher, you put your pedal up high. Don't put it here. We always say to people, put it right up high. So, and then he'll say 183.
Yeah, good.
The huge demand for rental properties has placed pressure on all ends of the market and makes living in Dublin a particular challenge for those on smaller budgets. Nisha John is from northern India. Her visa allows her to work just 20 hours a week, so she is currently looking for a flatmate to share her city centre bedsit.
It's really very small, compact, but the situation is it's very hard to get a house in Dublin, so we have to adjust here.
So this is a quick tour of my house. Just beside the main door is the stairs that goes up and the little bed. In this place, one person can sleep. I'll just take you up there. So you can see a small little cupboard and a small little bed is down here. So as you can see, the stair goes down. I live downstairs and the kitchen is just on my right hand side with little cooktop and oven. There's a fridge down here. The window that I have covered because it's too cold, so I put the sellotapes on to get rid of this cold. And just in front of my bed is a bathroom. This is small, very small bathroom, you can see. This house rent is around €550 a month.
Nisha has placed her ad on daft.ie and hopes to find someone to share her bedsit this week at a cost of €280 per month. In Wicklow, first-time buyer Fabrizio Magoso has been queuing overnight.
I got here and I got all set up for a nice sleep-in, wait in the queue. If you're actually interested in a house, you have to be there early if you want to get the house. Otherwise, no, the demand is just, it's too much. We went over to another development, and it was unfortunate because we got there was more than 100 people. And we said, no, we don't want to go through that again. So I said, that's a once-off thing. I'm going to sleep in the car. I'm going to wait.
He hoped to buy a 3-bed house off the plans in this new Greystones estate for €405,000.
What we're seeing this year is the first-time buyer is more mobilised. I think that the Help to Buy rebate is helping people move along the ladder.
We do. We have a cancellation list. Absolutely.
Congrats again. Well done. Well done. Oh, yeah, all the best and good luck with it.
Thank you very much. Finally was able to get the house, luckily.
Wow. Totally derelict. What a waste.
They sign when they move in with me. Any new tenant that comes in with me now, inspection checks are done 3 times a year, in conjunction with getting 4 written statements of satisfaction from the tenant. So every time I get a statement of satisfaction, normally 6 weeks after, or if there's things that need doing, I would go in and do a full inspection check.
In Waterford, landlady Zara Ryan is visiting one of her 9 rental properties.
Hello, homie. I love this house. Right, in we come.
Zara has had to deal with difficult tenants in the past and is keen to avoid similar issues arising in the future.
Just do a quick run around. Within minutes, you know how well the house is being kept. Yep, it's not bad. It's not too bad. And then you have the inventory, okay? I ask all my tenants to sign every sheet of paper, you know, just so they're perfectly aware of their rights and my rights, and both of us have obligations, you know, according to the law. We had a tenant once, okay? It took us 4 years to actually get rid of him. For the first year, he behaved himself. 3 years after that, we had ongoing issues, okay? And this particular time, we walked in the garden and it was like a scene out of Shameless. Went to the council, because this was under a RAS scheme. The council said to get a tenant out on obligation is impossible.
The rent supplement scheme is being replaced by housing assistance payment. HAP is a social housing support where local authorities pay private landlords directly. It's a central plank of government policy to ease the housing crisis. But in a market where demands outstrip supply, HAP clients are often at a disadvantage.
The rent doesn't cover the mortgage in some of my houses, right, okay? So I'm already at a loss to begin with. I'm topping it up with my own money for someone to live in my own house. And I'm sure those people on HAP and things like that, you know, I don't think private landlords are the solution. I've had people crying, saying we've got nowhere to live, or, you know, and it's heart-wrenching, but at the end of the day, you go on the best, it's like going for a job interview. The best candidate always gets it.
So this is a sleeping pod. Because of the accommodation situation in Ireland at the moment, and there is a crisis, it could be very, very suited to perhaps the homeless. Airbnb are using them. It fills a niche between hostels and cheap hotels. They have tenants in bunk beds, and what happens is they're working different hours and they're coming in late, turning on the lights. So in the past, tenants have been hanging towels and sheets from the top bunk bed to the bottom bunk bed to get a bit of privacy, to block out the light. This solves that problem. Negative comments were, oh, it's like a coffin, it's claustrophobic, people are taking advantage. The positive comments were, yeah, it's another addition to the market. It's improving the quality of life for tenants who are in bunk beds, and it's more privacy, etc.
Someone asked me, the hair gel wasn't mine. Someone asked me the other day, is the hair gel yours?
He came in the other day after cutting his own hair and they were trying to convince
Financial advisor David Hall runs the Irish Mortgage Holders Association and deals with financial institutions on behalf of those in arrears. Today, David will negotiate on behalf of widow Anna Gallagher. Anna is in danger of losing her family home as she is €156,000 in arrears.
Herself and her husband were traders, buying and selling fruit on the markets and travelling around in their van doing so. Would have run up some business debts, remortgages, would have gone into difficulties, crash came. Their daughter's 21st was on a Saturday night, and unfortunately Pat then took his own life in the back garden on the Sunday morning.
I thought 7 years there, but
He died in February.
8 years.
No, 7. Pat died in February, and I really didn't get in touch with David till October, so it'll be 7 years in October.
She's had a living hell for 6 years. You know, a state-owned bank sold her loan to a vulture fund, and their purpose in life is to extract money. That's their sole purpose in life, not to contribute to the solutions around the housing crisis in Ireland, not to contribute towards the well-being of any Irish citizen, but to extract as much money as they humanly can and ignore any carnage that might ensue as a result of that. And she's living proof. If anyone ever needed an advertisement as to the damage that vulture funds will and can do when they're extracting that money, then have a look at Anna.
I didn't even cross the door. I won't cross the door. I didn't even go out after, nothing after Pat died for about 2.5 years. Like, didn't go out anywhere. Worried about the young one going to work and that, you know, like everything comes into your head, like worried about being homeless. Plus you're still trying to grieve. Plus you're still trying to get on with your life. Do you know what I mean? Like you're trying to do everything.
Hello, you're through to Irish Mortgage Holders.
What's the story on the family home? Are you still in it?
David will seek to convince the fund who bought Anna's loan to agree to a mortgage to rent scheme. This will allow a housing agency buy Anna's home and rent it back to her. When Anna dies, her home will be used for social housing.
This is not something that's going to be allowed to happen where her house is going to be taken easily. This will be the mother of all battles to remove her from this, and this is in everyone's interest to do that. Can you send me that paperwork by email today rather than posting it to her? No, her circumstances are very, very clear. To be non-technical about it, she's goosed. I don't understand what part of goosed you don't understand. This is very, very simple. As you know, like she's eligible for mortgage rent. We need you to put her forward for mortgage rent. And if you're saying to me, which I sincerely hope you're not saying to me, that in the absence of someone who's on 188 quid a week, paying an amount of money per month that you're not willing to put her forward, then we've a big problem.
We'll be using what's called Homeless HAP, which is Homeless Housing Assistance Payments, which essentially puts long-term rental agreements in place in the private rental sector. And we housed 800 homeless people and families last year through Homeless HAP in Dublin, even though the target figure was only 500.
From today, HAP is available immediately to every household on the waiting list in Dublin City, Fingal and Dún Laoghaire. There are a lot of people in the private rental market who are relying on rent supplement at the moment. At least when we have HAP tenancies, the landlords are being paid directly from local authorities, and there is a tenancy agreement in place that ensures that that tenants aren't abused.
Because I had my name down for Blanchardstown, so this is just letting me know, since last week, this is just letting me know that for Blanchardstown that I am 1,314 on the list. And I just love this bit where they're like, when you're high enough on the list to be offered a house, we will contact you. You will be considered for the next available property which matches your housing net. So, I mean, 1,314. I got a letter about this 2 years ago where I was 1,495. So I have gone, in the last 2 years, I've only gone down, maybe 100 and so people, 200 people in the last 2 years. So I'm actually nowhere near even being housed by local council.
In Ballyfermot, Selena Hogan's landlord is selling her home of over 3 years. Served with a notice to quit, she must find somewhere else to rent. Approved for HAP, she has a budget of €1,400. But as she has a boy and a girl, she's required to rent a 3-bedroom home. This is proving difficult.
It's kind of just looking as an option that, you know, I'm going to have to go, beyond Ballyfermot, really, and where the kids are going to school. And now this one here says pets allowed, 1,500, so this is kind of looking good. Yeah, it's just an email, which happens a lot. There's not numbers, it's just emails. I find that when you email, you're even HAP, I've learned a lesson that if you don't actually say anything about your status or details, it gives them like the curiosity to get back in touch with you. So I found now that I don't actually say like I'm looking for HAP and I'm a family this, because I find I don't get a lot of replies back. And then it's kind of the ball's just kind of left in that course. So I'm just after sending that off there now. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
RTE Radio 1.
Now, Brian O'Connell is with me. Brian, you were back in the County Registrar course for us this week again, looking at repossession cases.
Yeah, this week alone, I just did a quick tally. I estimate you're looking at somewhere in the region of 500 cases around the country this week, and the vast majority of those would involve the family home. 30,000 households are in danger of losing their homes at the moment.
New on the market, we've had one viewing so far. The asking price is 345,000. And we have one offer of 330,000 on it currently.
Okay, so 330 and 67. I'm an architect, Emily's a planner, so we, like a lot of people, fell foul of the decline.
We're back home in Ireland now and working, and first-time buyers.
We're right back in and pretty quickly came to the conclusion that renting was a bit of a frenzy.
Yeah, the rent has soared since we were here before.
Yeah, you read about it when you're abroad. And you see it in the papers, and you keep an eye on it and stuff, but you don't realise until you come back the absolute rat race. More so even than purchasing. The rat race is really in renting. You know, there's no sales pitch. It's queues of people. The landlord arrives.
Sign your name
and send your credentials, and we'll pick somebody.
45-year-old Colin McSweeney became homeless just before Christmas. The IT company he worked for folded, and he could no longer afford his rent. He now lives in hostels, and every evening rings an emergency homeless accommodation line to try and secure a bed for the night.
This is Dublin's first and only 24-hour Starbucks, where I've spent 5 nights over the last couple of months. I've gone for an entire evening on one tea. The staff will allow you to stay there if you don't cause trouble. There's no problems. The one thing is if you start to actually try and sleep, you'll be woken up by a security guy. So it's kind of ironic that this particular Starbucks is in the old Anglo-Irish Bank building, one of the early stages of the financial and property crisis, and it's now housing a 24-hour Starbucks that's popular with the homeless.
I don't want to waste your time, so I'm just ask you straight because I'm on the HAP scheme, and only what I'm looking on the HAP.
Here's your evening sun.
This is evening.
That's your midday sun.
In Clondalkin, estate agent Ross McHugh is hosting a viewing of the one-bedroom apartment he advertised for the first time just 3 days ago.
Sure, how are we? Thank you very much. Now, thank you very much. Just down here, number 10 in the corner. How are we? Thank you very much. What we might ask then is just to give it a rest for a couple of seconds, just to free up a little bit of space, if that's okay, if you want to go ahead. I might just, go on, we'll just hold it here for a couple of seconds, if that's okay. So as I said, I have a sheet here with details. Anybody that does wish to register your interest after the viewing, just follow the steps down on the sheet and we'll be in contact then on Monday.
It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. Like, every place we go, there's at least 10 or 12 people, like groups of people coming to view the place, you know, and they're looking for work references, landlord references. It seems like the person who has the most ammunition is the person who gets the place, you know.
We do recommend that within the 48-hour period, if you attach those references back across to me here for review.
The HAP scheme?
He will accept the HAP scheme, yeah, absolutely. Once references are there for review, he will accept the HAP scheme, yeah, he will, yeah. Yeah, everything is quite scarce, but even the 2-beds are good. At the end of the day, when there is one successful applicant, it then feeds 49 odd viewing parties back into the market to start from scratch. If we had this whole block available to rent today and empty, we would have quite easily filled the whole block.
So who we may
34-year-old teacher Seamus Omwani is seeking to buy his first home. Seamus wants to live in a house, not an apartment. His options in Dublin are limited.
Okay, who we make a G on? Dublin hasn't really worked out for me. I've been looking at property in Dublin over for the last few months, maybe up to a year. If I was to write a book about buying a house, I suppose a chapter in Dublin I would feel is closed. There's nothing in that chapter that I could afford, so I suppose, yeah, this would be the opening of a new chapter, maybe the start of a new approach.
Seamus currently rents a room from friend and estate agent Emer in Dublin. Like many boom-time buyers, Seamus is considering a move further afield to get better value for money.
We've seen one or two down in Navan, and this is one that's on the book. There's actually a bid in already on it. So it's a nice big semi-detached house. The price in this house is around 220, so it's in your budget. It's well in budget.
And in terms of rooms and space and...
Yeah, it's a really good size.
Geez, it's like a mansion.
It'll get you the house you want in your budget, definitely.
I'm a single gay man. I suppose I have that fear that if I end up moving out somewhere towards Navan, Carlow, anywhere without Dublin, you know, am I suspending my social life for the sake of, you know, just putting a roof over my head?
This might be a negative. Yeah.
David Hall is trying to negotiate a mortgage-to-rent scheme for Anna Gallagher. This will allow her to stay in her home. Anna now faces an anxious wait to see if the deal will be finalised. In Dublin, the scheme is capped at houses worth €365,000. Should the value of her house appreciate by more than €10,000 before the deal is complete, she will likely lose her home.
Look, they're going to resist and they're going to get the same stuff. And like even since the phone call this morning, there's been 3 more emails of just rubbish. It's all formal rubbish. The objective will be to try and push this as fast as we humanly can. We are in a very delicate spot now because the only other option to mortgage rent is them taking the house off you.
Yeah.
You know? You've had enough now at this stage, so...
I just can't do anymore. Just give up.
Yeah. Well, the
Well,
deal...
I'm not giving up.
That was the deal.
No, I'm not giving up.
You keep the head,
No, I keep the
and I'll
head.
bash their heads. You keep the head. That's the deal. Okay? Yeah. Okay, I'll give you a shout later on. You're going out that way, straight out. Right.
Take care. Mind yourself.
Take care.
Thanks,
Take care.
See you
And mind yourself, okay? Yeah.
I'm just going to wait and see what happens. Yeah. You know, I'm just going to try not think about it now. I know it's easy to say, of course, you think about it, but I'm confident today, you know, something might come out of this.
Just shows you a small little change in the fucking mortgage rent things and bang. You know, one small change and she gets to stay in her house. A small variation of 15 grand and, you know, which the minister changed and changed very fast, to be fair to him. So that change probably will bring maybe 3,000 more people who wouldn't have been eligible, because outside Dublin the threshold used to be 220,000 of evaluation. That jumped to 280,000. And Dublin's a small change, but still, nonetheless, for Anna, it's the best change in the world.
In the front seat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Right.
Well, you see, I come from the country, and landlord has the connotation of the big house and the gentry and the English landlord. I certainly don't see myself in that vein.
One of the key solutions to the housing crisis is to build more homes. Hines Ireland, part of a US property group, are breaking ground on their Cherrywood, South County Dublin site.
Right the way through the park and into the town centre, into the
Managing
shops.
Director Brian Moran.
If we look at the market out there, we think it's easily 50-50 in terms of what market demand is, in terms of 50% of people want to rent, 50% of people want to buy. And ultimately, if you're going to solve the housing crisis, you've got to match the product to the demand. So this is the typical 2-bed apartment that is proposed. So this is the typical open plan we would use. This is sort of a photograph of the view that you would get in Cherrywood. Not every apartment has this view, but some do. So a typical 2-bedroom apartment like this in South County Dublin in Dún Laoghaire Rathdown rents for about €2,000 a month. So that is roughly the price point you would pay for this, for an apartment of this nature. This is the entrance to the studio unit. You have the, I suppose, the bedsit in Rathmines, which would be a common sort of feature of the Dublin market. Well, this is the sort of what's allowed now under the planning codes in terms of the alternative to that. And the idea is that you make it as, as attractive as possible, as usable as possible, so you're not wasting any space. And something like this is going to, I guess it'll be, if you look at the market again, it'll be £1,000+ for something like this to rent. It doesn't take a huge amount of effort to actually convert that to a bed space. A lot of the focus in Dublin at the moment is on the 3-bed semi-starter. But if you look across the skyline of Dublin today, there's probably, I think somebody said 50 cranes. But if I'm right, maybe 2 of them are apartments. The rest are all offices. A new worker in Dublin needs 10 square metres of office space, but he needs 40 square metres of living space. So by that definition, we should be seeing something like 200 cranes building apartments to match the amount of office supply that's happening in Dublin right now. And we're not seeing that.
In Donnycarney, Ciara and Maurice Sadler are waiting on a phone call. They are renting this 3-bed house, but want to move to a home of their own. They hope their bank will let them sell their 1-bed negative equity apartment and roll the remaining debt into a new mortgage to buy a new home.
So technically what would be going out of the bank would be around $1,200 a month. So we'd be saving $450 a month on our outgoings, so we could live a lot more comfortably. And also the apartment is just such a stress, it's just such a trigger of stress.
I fucking hate it.
So we don't see it as an investment, we don't see it as something that will benefit us down the line, we just don't want anything to do with it.
I do feel that if the bank come back this time and like, no, you can't, it would be like, okay, just take it back because I'm sick of it. And just take the keys. Because it's been just nothing but trouble for years. So we really would like it gone and just not have to worry about it and just move on.
I don't want to get a mortgage for what more than I can afford or more than is sustainable. I think I'm worried that Ireland is falling into that trap. And so is this a good time to be doing anything to do with property? I don't know.
Dublin seems for rich people, not for proletarian, not for foreigners, maybe for foreigners if they are rich.
Teacher Seamus Omwani can't afford the home he wants in Dublin. Today he is viewing a house in Navan and is testing the daily commute from his school.
How are you? But yeah, that was my first 140 of the day. Like 140 and 140 is 280. 280 by 5 is €14. 14 by 4 is 56. Times that by 10, we'd say roughly about €500 on just the N3 tolls, and that's not even including what the M50 would cost.
You will arrive at 17:36.
So what time do we leave at? 4:15, 17:36. An hour and 15, an hour and 20.
Your destination is on the left.
Oh, here we are. Oh, look at it. It's actually quite nice.
Hello.
How
you made
are
it
you?
down.
How
you
are
made
things?
it down.
I made it.
Give you a great size sitting room here. Big bay window at the front. And then into the kitchen, the same tiling just follows through. Garden needs a little bit of tidying up, but nice patio area. You can see the back.
Oh my God.
It's pebble
The log cabin is...
That's included in the sale.
Jeez, I could live in that and rent out the house. But like to get a garden in Dublin, and any of the house that I've gone to see, I wouldn't even call it a garden. I'd call it a square patch.
Yeah. No, it's much more spacious.
It's nice to arrive somewhere to know that you could afford this. You know, that this could be within your means. This is the first place that I could possibly see myself, yeah. Like, I walked out that back garden and I could see myself sitting there having a pina colada. My heart is kind of fluttering a little bit. You know, I'm kind of thinking, oh, yeah, no, I have to say I'm definitely interested. Maybe I could give living in Meath a go. You'd never know. The estate is lovely.
In the morning, the light just floods in here. Like.
Yeah.
In Ballymun, O'Coolan Co-Housing Alliance is building a cooperative affordable housing scheme of 49 new houses on land purchased nominally from Dublin City Council. With a 10% deposit and an income less than €59,000, local Aisling Lynch has qualified to purchase a two-bed house here for €140,000.
So what do you think?
Oh, fabulous. It's just unreal. I can't believe it.
Do you remember when you went to your first meeting or whatever it was? How long ago was it anyway?
First meeting was 14 years ago out in Papa Tree Community Centre.
Wow.
Yeah. No, but I just never thought it'd take this long.
Yeah,
I mean, all I wanted was a home.
Sure, why
and
would you
I
think?
tried every avenue and every way, and this is finally happening. Thank you. And I'm still kind of, now I'm seeing, like, you know, but when I have my key, I think then I'll, you know, when I'm inside the door. Before I got the phone call to say this was moving along, I was actually going to emigrate. I didn't think it was ever going to happen. And it was like, just like fate or whatever, because the phone call, I was literally going to ask for my money back. And then I got the phone call. And, you know, by any chance, just by looking at, you know what colour door I have?
We're going to America, guys. Property Expo in Boston to deal with the inquiries from America in relation to people over there who are a little bit anxious about what's going to befall them.
Ciara and Morris Sadler have had a call from their bank and are coming to terms with some bad news.
No.
The bank said that our application wasn't successful for the trade down negative equity mortgage. The main concern was that we both have contract work. She just kept asking, is there any way that we could get permanent jobs? So, no, we can't get permanent jobs.
We just have to stay paying it, so we have to stay renting. And then we will have to move from the Airbnb to the long-term rental of the apartment and suck up the reduction in money income.
Like, I'm just so sick of it and so sick of being broke. I do worry about it. What if our landlord decides they're going to sell? There's no other houses for rent in this area at the minute. So I do worry about it, but maybe I'll have to try to figure out a way to not worry about it.
It's Thursday. Colin McSweeney is homeless and spends much of his time in Pearse Street Library. Today he makes his usual 4 p.m. call to try and secure an emergency bed for the night.
It's a rather nervous time, because this is kind of the way the day revolves around this one phone call. It's ringing, right. At this point, the system should ring me back automatically, should pick up my phone number and tell me that a call back has been arranged. Your callback has been set up. Please hang up now. So now we wait. Every day. Monday to Sunday. My current position in queue is 49. Here you go. I don't know what the music is, but I know I hate it.
All our agents are still busy. Please hold and your call will be answered as soon as possible. Thank you.
Hi, do you have any emergency beds for tonight? Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye. Nope, just gone to a human operator, same message. So, 10:30.
I mean, it's not too horrendously large, so it's a bit
big enough. And it's nice it's got green on it.
In Ballyfermot, Selena Hogan has had no reply to her query on the rental property in Kimmage. Unless she finds a home to rent by Easter Monday, she will be officially homeless and in need of emergency accommodation.
Hopefully be able one day to buy a home for myself, like that's my future. And if I can't buy a house, I hope to get a council house where I can give them I can provide everything I need for my kids, that they'd never, ever, ever have to go through this situation again.
The auction is taking place this afternoon, correct?
In Galway, Paul Killeran and Jacqueline Nestor have set their hearts on buying a 2-bed terraced house to get out of the rental market.
Well, I've been renting for about 10 years. Eventually renting does get a little bit tiring in that you don't have freedom to do what you want with the place. We kind of decided early on that we didn't really want to build, that we wanted to buy something a little bit older in town, do it up and kind of make it our own.
So you're constantly looking, and of course then you find out it's going for auction and you're like, oh great.
At 165,000.
Tensions are raised when it's in an auction.
You go in, you really want the house and you just have no idea how it's going to go. You start to imagine yourself in the house and what you're going to do with the house, and then it's just gone.
The third final call, all done.
It'd be lovely to think that we will have our own home before we get married.
Anybody who has seen it will have known this beautiful 2-bedroom townhouse in mint condition, everything they did, the ultimate townhouse in the ultimate location, 17...
Paul and Jacqueline are hoping to secure this Galway townhouse for under €300,000. The advised minimum is €200,000.
Ladies and gentlemen, St. Joseph's Avenue, who'll give me an open bid, ladies and gentlemen, who'll start off the open bid at 200. At 200,000, we're on the mark. At 200,000, we're on the market immediately. Opening bid, it's your bids are at 200,000. At 200, at 205, I'm bid at 205, at 210. At 210, I'm bid 210 and 215. At 215 and 250, I'm bid. At 220, 220 bid. At 225, 225 bid. At 230, 230 and bid. At 235, 235 bid. At 240, 240 and bid. At 245, 245 bid. At 250, 250 and bid. At 255, 255 bid. At 270, 270 bid. At 275, 275 bid. At 280, 280 bid. At 285, 285 bid. At 290, 290, 290. It's 285. It's your bid, sir. 285,000. Are you all done? It's against you, sir. It's once at 285,000. It's still against you, sir. It's twice at 285,000, but it's 286. I like your style, sir. At 286, I'm bid at 286. At 287, at 288, at 289, at 289, 290, at 290, 291, at 291, at 292, at 294, at 294, I'm bid 294, 296, at 296,000, at 296,000. Come again, sir. 297, at 297, 297, 298. Go 299, you're nearly the door. 299, 299, I'm into a 3, to a 3, to a 3. Give me 302,000. The lady beside you saying go ahead. 302. At 302, I'm bid, 302, I'm bid. 303, at 303,000 bid, 303,000 bid. That's 304. That's 304. That's 304. It's 303,000 once due, sir. It's 303,000 twice due, sir. Any fresh bidders you bidding, sir? 303,000 to you, sir. No fresh bidders down there. He's back in again, 304, 304, 304 and bid. At 304, 304, 304 and it's once due, sir, 304,000. It's twice due, sir, at 304,000. You're at 305, I'm back to 305. I thank you, sir. At 305, at 305, at 305. You're at 306, you're at 306. Once, 306, I bid, at 306, I'm bid. It's 306,000 twice. At 307,000 is back in. It's 307,000 once. It's 307,000 twice. All done. Sold. Put your hands together for that gentleman there. Congratulations and well done.
Shell shocks. Yeah. It sort of just didn't get in as to what's just happened.
I suppose when it started coming down to ones and twos, we just wanted it. It just set in that we really wanted it, and I was happy to go that bit higher, and I think you were too.
I knew from the first time we saw that this was our house. It was always going to be our house.
Go back. At this stage, I'd say the chance of getting a bed is probably less than 50%. There's nothing you can do. You're just waiting on
an automatic system that may or may not work properly and may or may not call you back. See how it goes. And the longer you wait, the worse it seems, because the less chance you actually have of getting a bed. Hi, do you have any emergency beds for tonight? 9th of June 1971, 10 North Frederick Street. No, but I can probably find it, yeah. I have a bed for the night at number 10 North Frederick Street, a place called Frederick Hall. I've never been there before. I just need to get over there because I'm now in Stephen's Green, and that's off O'Connell Street.
Well, next on RTE1, a follow-up discussion on the rise of property prices on Clareburn Live coming up, with a sneak peek next.